Welcome, fans, to a special episode of Rangers Ed. We are live here in the Game 3 post-game. We got Coach Ed, we got Little Ed, we got Cousin Ed, that's me, and Carlo is here. He's faded in the background if you're watching on YouTube. What's up, Carlo, our cousin, joining us with the Rangers Ed gear. I love it,
How's
dude.
it going? Yeah, repping it.
And for you guys that have been following our live post games during the playoffs, if you're watching this and wondering, is Cousin Ed wearing the same thing again? The answer is yes. He has not washed his shirt, and he's wearing the same hat every episode until they lose. I'll be wearing this, so it'll be the same every game. The Rangers win 3-1 on the road in Washington in Game 3, up 3-0 in the series, same as Florida, same as Carolina. Coach Ed, was it important for the Rangers to kind of match Florida and Carolina in their series and go up 3-0, or you think that's a little bit dramatic?
I don't know if it's important as far as the whole sequence, but it is important because you don't want to have to play 6 or 7 games, and the other teams have done it 4 or 5. It's just that much more wear and tear. So for that reason, I'd say it's important just to stay up and keep the bodies a little healthy.
Yeah, for once, I'd like the Rangers to play a short series. I think I saw a stat. There had only been like one team who had made it to the Stanley Cup Finals playing all 7 games in each series. I think it was the Kings. So I don't know if that's true. It's just off the top of my head. I think I saw that online. But like that seems to be the case. You need one easy series, kind of just stay fresh, nobody get hurt. And then you're going to have Carolina, Florida back-to-back. If they're going to reach the finals, they're going to have to beat good teams. But it's got to be an easy series here with Washington, a team that really just barely made the playoffs, Little Ed. I mean, did they even push in this game? Like, I wasn't even nervous at all during the whole game.
No, I mean, I wasn't nervous leading up to the game at all, really. I mean, it just felt like a regular season game to me. I mean, they definitely have the Caps underneath their thumb. The Caps are trying to play their game or force them to play their game, and the Rangers aren't biting. I mean, they took a lot of penalties this game, but I'm sure we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah, I mean, they're just dominating in all aspects of the game. They're out bullying them. They're outscoring them, obviously. They're out penalty killing them. They're out power playing them. They're just dominating. And like you said, they got to keep this going, win one more game, rest up for Series 2 or Round 2 because it's going to be a grind. Yeah, they're playing phenomenal right now.
Well, let's talk about Matt Rempe and just get that out of the way. Matt Rempe obviously is a national phenomenon in the NHL, and everyone just keeps talking about this kid. He's a fourth liner. He plays less than 8 minutes a game. And all they can do is talk about Matt Rempe, 6'8", big hit tonight. Knocks Trevor Van Riemsdyk out of the game. Was it late? Yeah, it was a little bit late. At first, it looked like a major, and then on the replay, no. But definitely a late hit. 2 minutes called. Washington gets a power play, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we keep seeing all these other podcasts and these fans tweeting, Rempe's got to sit. It's going to cost him if he keeps taking penalties. What's your take, Little Ed? I mean, I don't want to. I'm giving it away where I really think by the tone of my voice. But what's your take on this whole sit Rempe because he takes penalties situation?
Well, the good thing about for now is that the Rangers penalty kill's on fire and the Capitals power play is really bad. So. Am I going to sit here and pretend that I'm not concerned? I mean, in a series against Carolina or Florida with a much better power play, yeah, he's definitely got to tone it down a notch. But also like the penalty, it's not like he's going out and like headhunting or taking like really dumb penalties to me. To me, he's playing hard, and it's not bad luck. That's not the right word or the right term, but like it's not necessarily his fault. I don't know. It's like hard. It's hard to explain.
Did you ever see a dog put on shoes before? Have you ever seen that? Like a video of that? Yeah, Carlo, you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see a dog put on shoes and they just like can't walk, right? They're just like, and they're just like all over the place. They have no stability. I feel like Rempe's just so big that it's like that almost. Like he goes in, he lays a hit. it's like not a penalty if it's anyone else throwing that hit, but because it's Rempe throwing the hit, it's called. Speaking of dogs, mine just enters the room mid podcast. So how you doing? It's because it's Rempe, it's called, and it's like I think it's more important that his physical presence is there and the other opponent is intimidated than like what they got to kill this one penalty a game. Like, fine, we'll kill a penalty, kill a penalty. Rangers went 6 for 6 on the penalty kill tonight with a shorthanded goal. Kill the penalty.
If they don't, if that one power play is going to cost them the game, they don't necessarily deserve to win.
If the game's that close, Rempe's not going to be out there to get the penalty. So
exactly.
Period. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I don't.
Or it's like if it costs them, coach. Like if let's say it's game 2 or 3 against Carolina next series. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but let's say, and like Rempe gets called in the second of a 0-0 game and Carolina scores. Well, then as the coach, you can make a decision. You're not going to lose the series on that one penalty.
He's not going to cost them the series by no means. And guaranteed, obviously this is all over. You guys are sending out the Twitter things. Guaranteed if he's not in the lineup, Wilson's taking a lot more liberties than he is right now.
Well, he tried to fight Rempe tonight. You saw that?
Well, yeah, he tried just to like do something, but I want to see it happen. It's like the Rangers have to take that significant lead for it to happen because it was still too close. 3-1. I wasn't nervous like you guys were saying. I was very confident. But 3-1 is that tough play that they've been playing each game where the Caps are just that one goal from getting that surprise goal and turning the series momentum. And they've been very good at not letting that happen. So,
well, we got B. DeVivo with the Simpsons.
4-goal lead early, then it's over.
We got B. DeVivo with the Simpsons avatar with the comment. I love that. Hilarious. It doesn't help that the refs are literally calling everything. Some hits Rempe is doing are not bad hits. I mean, I agree. That hit I did at first, I was like, ooh, that was late. That's a major is high. And then on the replay, it wasn't high. It was just late. So the right call was made, I thought, 2 minutes. But yeah, there was one hit in the first, like, game 1. It was game 1. His first shift, he got a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. So I do think they're kind of targeting Rempe a little bit to control him. He really, he's injured a couple of guys already. So I feel like as the refs, they feel the obligation to control Rempe, and that does kind of hurt the Rangers. But it hasn't hurt them in a game yet where, they've lost a game because of it, right?
Yeah, Scott K on Instagram says refs are looking to call anything on Rempe when his skates touch the ice. Leave Rempe in, he's getting in other teams' heads. I agree. I mean, I said that what was the game that Coach Ed and I went to? I think it was late in the season or whatever. I said like the refs are just trying to control the game early. They're not going to let him get away with anything. Yeah, and that goes for these games too. I mean, if they let that hit go, then the floodgates open with a ton of other dirty hits. I mean, Panarin's already got to keep his head up. We don't need him getting hurt or getting run by Wilson or something stupid, especially with the Caps down 3-0. So I don't think he's being over aggressive, and I think I guess the refs are doing a good job keeping it under control because, like I said this last game to Coach too, like if they let him get away with that hit, then he tries to push the envelope a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And that goes for everybody on the ice, not just Rempe. If Rempe gets away with that hit, then Wilson's going to think he can get away with something.
Well, that was definitely a penalty. It was definitely a penalty. I mean,
I'm saying in other instances, other hits that he's thrown in the past.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
They called the Washington penalty when he knocked, I think it was Trocheck into the back of the net. No, Roslovic or whatever. I don't know. They got to call it even, and that's it. I mean,
Washington had 6 power plays. The Rangers had 3. I wouldn't really call that calling it even. To me, this game was game management by the refs. Washington's down 2-0 in the series. They're down 3-1 in the game. Penalty after penalty on the Rangers. Ticky-tack calls. Really, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And then they finally called one at the end after it was obvious when Miller got held up. But, I mean, it was just – it's kind of stupid. At this point, I feel like the league's just trying to extend these series in the East a little bit because they're going to end quickly. They're all 3-0 except Boston and Toronto. So that's bad for the league. bad look for the league if all the series in the West go 7 and the East is waiting. It's not really a good look.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the conspiracy. Let's talk about
got
Barclay
joined-
Goodrow, Coach.
I
That's
got
your
joined
boy.
by someone there, cuz.
Nikki
Blogs.
Blogs. I missed you. I wasn't.
How we
even
doing,
looking at the
fellas? How
screen.
we doing?
What's up? I'm staring into space. How you feeling after that win, buddy?
No worries. We're good. We're all good over here. Bree and I went out. We caught the game. Get in there. There you go. We went out. We caught the win here in Jersey, but a very sound performance, especially defensively. And we wanted this series to get over quick. They're setting themselves up to do that.
Yeah, for sure. The Rangers up 3-0. They Sunday night, game 4, 8 p.m. I was just asking Coach Ed about Barclay Goodrow. I'm going to let him take that, and then I want to hear your follow-up on that, Coach. Goodrow's been killed all year by all Ranger fans, except maybe you. 4 goals, 8 assists in the regular season, a goal and 2 assists in 3 playoff games. I mean, you can't make it up. You just really can't make it up. I mean, do you think some people are just built differently for like pressure performances?
It's a DNA thing. It's not. I was talking to Dominic about it yesterday. We were watching the Islander game. It's like it's a DNA thing. They just have it in them. That's how they get to that level. He's not that great of a skilled player, obviously.
Wait, DNA would mean nature versus nurture, though. So you think it's
Right.
nature?
Yes, that's in you. You can't. That's something that can't be taught. It's like a defensive lineman. The killer instinct of a defensive lineman as opposed to an offensive lineman. It's a different mentality. It's in your DNA, and he's just got it. He would not get to the top in the NHL, not the top of the NHL, to the top league as that kind of skilled player unless he has that DNA.
I mean, what a huge goal, right? Like,
my God.
it's a 1-1 game, shorthanded, and 2-on-1. Of course, it's Goodrow, and of course he finishes that. I feel like in like game 30 of the regular season, he shoots that wide or something.
Yeah, he's had opportunities like that.
Right, exactly. But kudos to him. I mean, he's been awesome this series. That whole line has, honestly. So no complaints from Cousin Ed about Barclay Goodrow in games 1 to 3. And we've been saying it all season. His salary will be earned in the playoffs, and he's kind of has to do this after the regular season he had. So kudos to him for doing it.
I mean, the penalty killing alone, he's just a part of a phenomenal job. I mean, everybody could say it's only Washington, blah, blah, blah. They barely made the playoffs, but they announced the game. They're the top power play since January 13th or something.
Yeah, and they have the best goal scorer of all time on their power play. So let's relax.
He's not the best goal scorer of all time.
No, he's struggling. He doesn't
Yeah.
care. I'm sure he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Don't forget about
Nikki,
face-offs too. They put Barclay out a bunch as like the second face-off man and stuff, and then he gets off the ice.
So far, I love the way Laviolette's managing the game. I mean, Panarin, I know there was penalties, but Panarin hardly saw the third period. I kept looking for him. He wasn't out there a lot. They didn't have to use him.
let's talk about Panarin. Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up.
I'm not saying he was benched. I'm just saying it wasn't necessary. And he kind of looked like he was rolling the third and fourth line more.
No, I'm not saying he was benched either.
I
I think we need to talk about. I think we just got to talk about Panarin because he's got a goal in 3 games, no assists. 1 point in 3 games. How many multi-point games does this guy have in the regular season? He gets the goal in game 1. Thank God, right? Otherwise, he'd be pointless in these 3 games, despite the wins. Fans I see it on Twitter. Panarin, he's not playing well. He's not even getting shots on goal. What I'm seeing, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing is kind of a double team of Panarin. Whenever he carries the puck in the zone, you see a Washington defenseman come up, and you see the back check right on him. He stops, he spins, he's trying to do something. He's dumping it in. He's not really able to be creative out there, and it's difficult for him. There's not really a lot of time and space, but when that happens, and we predicted it, why wouldn't you key on Panarin? He scored 120 points. If I'm Washington, I'm saying somebody else is going to have to score goals for the Rangers because it's not going to be Panarin. So he gets shut down, but here's Mika, here's Kreider, here's this. I mean, Nikki, what's your take on this? Am I defending Panarin a little too much? Do you think he's got to figure it out anyway, or do you think that's just the way the games are going to go?
I mean, I think the playoffs, they loan themselves to the more checking style and it's a little tighter game. While he's only got the one goal, I thought, especially in game one, he and his line were driving play. They were probably the best offensive line of the first game from a creative standpoint, aside from the fourth line, ironically enough. But I think in each of the first 3 games of this series, you've seen different Rangers, both individually and then as a line, chip in. I think Zibanejad's had a really good start to the series. He and Kreider and Roslovic shouldn't be lost in the shuffle either, for all the talk about how he should come out of the lineup. I thought he's been great so far in this series, especially tonight without even registering a point. It felt like he was everywhere. I think everyone has chipped in at some point a different way. When you're winning games, we don't need to get caught up necessarily in the box score at the moment. If he wasn't engaged and he wasn't involved, I'd be more worried about him. But I mean, he's out there throwing hits. Like he's playing. It's a different attitude amongst them right now.
Well, they're keying on him, Little Ed. They're keying on Panarin, right? I mean, and then you look at the other players. Zibanejad, 5 points, a goal and 4 assists. Trocheck, 5 points, 2 goals and 3 assists. Yeah, they're shutting down Panarin, but those 2 guys and Kreider are just coming through and, making it happen anyway. So that's what the Rangers need.
Yeah, like you said, they're double teaming him. They're keying in on him. They're not giving him a lot of time and space. And the good news is everyone around him is performing. I mean, Trocheck's getting the shorthanded opportunities, getting the secondary scoring from the fourth line. Third line is buzzing around. Will Cooley is just a honey badger out there. He's just flying around doing everything he possibly can to get the puck or to hit somebody or to get a shot on net, create something. He's something else. But
What a
yeah,
pick that was.
yeah, crazy, man. But back to Panarin. I mean, his time will come. He got the goal in the first game. He's not like he's invisible out there. Like you said, he's making the right decisions to dump the puck in. I said it a few times while we were watching the game, and Lindsay was like, "Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?" I was like, "No, like he like the old Panarin would have tried to cross ice pass that to Laffy in one instance, and then instead he dumped it into Laffy's corner, and Laffy beat the guy to the puck.
Yep.
And they got the offensive zone time.
There's a couple times I noticed that after you mentioned it last time. I paid close attention. You said live, you noticed it at the Garden. And I saw a couple times today, I saw a little bit of a deke, and like I saw him like want to pass, and then he's just like, nah, and he dumps it in. You could see it. Like you literally could see that's what his brain is doing,
Fellas, the playoffs are all about styles making fights, and the Capitals are a clog it up, slow it down, unattractive kind of approach of a team. And it's going to loan itself to these games where I don't think the Rangers have felt really all that threatened in any of the 3 outside of maybe the last 2 to 3 minutes of game 2. But when when you're able to go out there and play the way the Caps want to play and still win it, that's just fine. I do think things are going to open up more as we go. I mean, especially when they, should they get through this series and draw Carolina. Carolina's played 3 very wide open games with the Islanders. If it's similar to that, then there's going to be all kinds of opportunities for not just Panarin, but all the big guns.
Yeah. I mean, I think, story of this series is special teams. And the Rangers have been a team that relied heavily on special teams all season. So it's not really a surprise that they're relying heavily on it here. But that's not to say they've been bad 5-on-5. I don't think they've been bad. But 2 shorthanded goals. So you look at tonight, 6 for 6 on the PK with a shorty and 1 for 3 on the power play, or 1 for 4, I guess, with the one at the end. That's the difference, right? A power play goal and a shorthanded goal, it's a 2-goal game. Do you think the Rangers are going to need to have that same advantage going forward? Do you think we shouldn't even be talking about that? Am I jinxing it? Where are you at moving forward here? Because 3-0 is that's a steep hill to climb for Washington, right? So I think the Rangers got to win that 4th game, got to close them out, but it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Question: who you asking?
I'm asking Nikki.
Oh, okay.
Well, in that case, I think they need to just stay really focused and play the same game they did tonight. They don't have to paint a masterpiece to finish the sweep off. The Caps, I wouldn't be surprised if the Caps start fast again, but even when they've scored, it feels like Igor's taking it very personally. So it feels like there's a lot of ways that they can finish this thing off. Let's get it done as quick as possible. I think going forward, to your question about the style of the game, penalty killing, importance of special teams, there's no doubt that they're going to, especially on the power play, you want to see them get hot. But I think the playoffs are going to change as they go, as we've seen almost every year for the last, I don't even know how many years now. The playoffs are called from a penalty standpoint completely differently after we get out of round one. They are micromanaging and overcalling everything right now, and not just this series, but in every series. It's crazy. I think you'll see more let the guys play come round 2, round 3. Should the Rangers be lucky enough to get to round 3 as well and further. So I think the dynamic changes. Their 5-on-5 play has been strong, especially defensively, and it's leading to offense. So if this game's become more of an even strength contest, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think Curtis Wall, Charlie Whiskey, otherwise known as, big point here, Coach. Don't give up a goal 2 minutes left in a period, 2 minutes after the period starts, or 2 minutes after a goal. I was always taught when I played, biggest shift is a shift after a goal, right? So whether your team scores a goal or the other team scores a goal, that's the biggest shift, right? Most important play. So if you're out there, be ready. And I feel like the Rangers have done well with that in this series. Good point by Charlie Whiskey. I don't know if you disagree. But
Well, they've done that all year. It's just a great part of this team's character, where they're behind in the game or a goal scored, the next shift coming back. That that's part of coaching. Also, I think he's making the right decisions. Obviously, feeling the bench. But to me, in this series, the big difference is going to be, and it has been, Capitals are tired. You see Oshie on the bench; he couldn't even breathe. They're riding these top guys. They don't have great top guys anymore. They're aging out. And they can't go 60 minutes against 4 lines. I haven't noticed like one Capital third or fourth liner where usually you play in a tough game, a tough series. There's always that guy on the other team on the third or fourth line that's just buzzing, like with the Rangers. And they don't have anything after their second line, to me, that they can compete for 60 minutes.
Yeah, they're making very simple mistakes. Very, I don't know, like just fumbling the puck. They can't generate any offense.
That's going to be excuse me. That's going to, I don't want to forget what I want to say. That's going to be the big difference going on to the next series, because Panarin's getting stopped, but they can't stop both lines. But as the series go further, the better teams can stop both lines. They have better third and fourth liners. So that's where Panarin's going to have to battle through. We're going to need it. You can't just rely on and say, okay, we can stop Panarin, we can beat them. We're stopping Ovechkin, and they have nothing. So they can't just stop. They can't handle the Rangers. But the better teams, Florida, Boston, they have those guys that are going to do it. So.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the little chances that the Capitals do get, Shesterkin is just dialed in. I mean, I said it to you guys early. He didn't look shaky. I don't want to say he looked shaky. He just didn't look as focused. He was fighting the puck a little bit. But he definitely dialed it in after that and just shut the door on the Caps for the rest of the year.
That lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah, that first goal must have been like a knuckle puck or something. It looked like he just misjudged it. I didn't see a deflection. It just looked like he misjudged it off the stick or something. It was weird.
Terrible goal.
I think
Absolutely
the coach's
terrible.
point too, guys, on the lines. It's a really good call out, Coach. But Laviolette has a tremendous feel for this group, and right after going down 1-0, they go to Wenberg and Cooley and Kakko. The three of them chase the Caps around the zone. Wenberg almost scores. It leads to a point shot from Lindgren that almost goes in, and then from there, I think 2 shifts later, Zibanejad sets up Kreider to tie the game. I mean, it's the ability to go find the matchup and exploit it, even on the road, and just feel comfortable saying, I like these 3 guys in this spot to go play a certain way. It's probably the biggest change from this year to last year. I don't want to sit here and, body bag Gerard Gallant anymore. I think we've all done that plenty, but there's a real difference in how this team is coached and how games are approached and how the game plan is executed that I think it's self-evident.
And they're all buying in. That's the key. I mean, what's his name? they went through it in Washington when they won the cup. The players have to buy into it. They have to believe in the success, and they are trusting the system. And it's clicking on all cylinders now. They're doing what they should do against Washington. It's going to be interesting to see if they can fight a tougher series.
So what are we expecting in Game 4 Sunday night at 8 p.m.? I mean, is there going to be more of a push? I was expecting a huge push from Washington, a really physical game, and I just don't think they.
I don't see it. I don't see it not being a sweep personally. I don't think Washington can sustain anything. I think they're tired. They had a strong push at the end of the season. They had to deal with. They're tired.
Yeah, they're exhausted. They got nothing in the tank, and they don't really have anything to begin with. I mean, they made the strong push while every other team was securing their playoff spots and stuff, but just not impressed by Washington at all. I mean, you hear every NHL analyst, Ovi could turn it on at any moment and be a game changer. I mean, I think his time is done as far as being a game changer. You know, I mean, he might need to restock the Russian gas over there, but he's a little slow to me now at this point.
I mean, let's be honest. The only reason this guy's still in the league is because he wants to break that goal record.
Of course. Otherwise, he'd be playing in Russia.
Goals. Yeah, I mean, like, if Gretzky's goal record was like 1,500 goals, Ovechkin he'd be out of the NHL right now. That's the vibe I got, at least.
He definitely looks uninterested. It's not like he's even frustrated. He just doesn't like even when the Capitals score a goal, he's usually fired up, skating, like flying to the other side of the ice, crashing into the glass and stuff. Capitals score a goal, he doesn't even look that excited. He just puts his hands up and like glides over to the huddle. You know, like he's not the old Ovechkin or even last year Ovechkin, whatever. Like he just does not look the same to me at all. So
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between him and a player like Sidney Crosby. Sid has that desire at every game, every minute to do it. Ovechkin just feels like you just said he's successful. He's done. He knows they're not coming back from a 3-0 deficit now. So he's just gonna say the hell with it. Let me end the season early and enjoy my family. You know, what's he gonna do?
No, you're right.
It'd be shocking if they beat the Rangers the last 4 games.
Well,
CW expects Game 4 to be dirty as hell from the Caps.
But that's why they're going to need Rempe in there. It's only a matter of time before Wilson's going to do something stupid.
Yeah, that's a worry of mine. Because I think, to all of your point, I think the Caps probably threw their best punch that they're going to throw in this series in Game 2. They played probably the best they've played in the 3 games for a sustained amount of time in stretches of that game, mostly revolving around power plays, and then in the end of the game scenario at the 6-on-5. I think they've thrown their best punch. I'm sure they'll start the game quick on Sunday, but Rangers should be able to outlast them. But I agree. My concern is the physicality ramping up, and some guys taking some runs at people as this thing goes on.
Yeah, got to skate with your head up.
Yeah, they all do without a doubt, but I'm not worried about the Rangers getting out-muscled. That's without a doubt.
It was refreshing. I don't know if anyone saw it pregame, but they asked Oshie. And Oshie, I've always been a fan of his. I mean, I thought he was kind of a clown the other night. But that aside, I've always liked him. But they asked him about the Panarin thing. He's like, I didn't have a problem with it. He's like, he called me with my head down. Like, he's just, saying it's basically good. It's good, clean hockey. It was a clean hit. These guys have been through enough battles over there. I know the difference. I just worry about, them feeling that they could take some liberties. But to your point, you run the big guy out there, you let Rempe police things and keep things under control and tell everybody else to keep their head up.
I think Rempe and Cooley are chomping at the bit. Well, I to say, all right, go ahead. They are chomping at it.
That's the biggest thing.
His idols, so I think for Rempe it would be an honor.
Yeah, I mean, I would. The only thing I could say would be better is if it happened at the Garden, but I want it sweep.
I want the sweep too.
Yeah,
the Rangers haven't had a sweep since 2007 versus Atlanta.
Wow,
that's the last time the Rangers swept somebody. So
Yager to the empty net.
They need to They just need to put the exclamation point. Get it over with. Rest up. Get ready. Because Florida, who would they play next? I don't even know without looking at the bracket.
Carolina.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But I'm like you, Ed, because I don't think I'm watching Carolina against the Islanders. Pesci's out. We don't know how long. Their defense is suspect. If the Islanders are threatening Carolina, I can't see Carolina being that dominant against the Rangers.
Carolina doesn't scare me, but the
It's
prospect of Carolina, then Florida, then Vegas, like that worries me a little
Well,
bit. Yeah, I
That's what
know.
it takes.
It's crazy, right? The NHL playoffs is something else. It really
Florida
crazy.
looks really, really good so far. I've watched the 3 games that the Hurricanes have played, and I think I'm in complete agreement with you because I think they look good, but they don't look like the team that everyone makes them out to be at times. Defensively, they're really sloppy. I was talking with Mikey 150 on Twitter, and I think what really stands out is they're not managing pucks well at all. And in game 1, they gave up 36 shots on goal to the Islanders. The Islanders just don't have enough guys that can finish consistently. And game 3, they gave up a ton of chances outside of a big star. Really, game 2 is the only game where the Canes have looked dominating.
Yeah,
And they
they
got
have.
goal-
If D'Angelo's that 6th defenseman, they're in trouble with the Rangers because D'Angelo, defensively, I was watching the game. He just literally stands there watching the puck. It's
Mhm.
amazing at that level that you don't have the mental capacity to.
Coach,
Like,
let me ask you
sometimes-
something. Where are you looking right now? Because you're not
Well,
looking at the camera.
I'm looking
so
at the
trying to
screen.
figure out-
I'm looking at the screen watching you guys. Carlo has this fancy schmancy camera, 720 HDMI or whatever the hell you want to call it. Right. So if I have to look this way, then I'm not looking at you guys. I can't see you guys talk.
That's
I can
funny.
only tell him to look at the camera so many times.
Now you know. Now you know how hard it is for Sam and Joe to constantly to look at each other, look at the camera. You know, it's tough.
You know what
Yeah.
was weird? You know what was weird? We were at the game the other night. Remember, Ed? And I'm watching Ray Ferraro between the glass. And when we watch it on TV, he's looking right at the camera, but he's like staring cross ice at nothing and talking. It's like
Yeah.
it must be like strange. Like I can't even do it here, and he's doing it like live, in the game. And even when Michelle Gingras does it, she's doing the same thing. She's staring across the ice at nothing.
Yeah, it's hard.
just in there. Ferraro's fueled by his hatred of the Rangers while he's on there.
Well,
That's what
I
keeps us focused
I get his motivation, but
I haven't
It's just
even
weird.
watched a second of Rangers hockey in the playoffs outside of MSG. I've watched all
No.
the other broadcasts on TNT, ESPN, whatever. I have not seen a Rangers thing other than Joe and Sam. So it's gonna suck in round 2 if they get there. But all right, Coach. Before we sign off, give me something nice to say. Something nice about Keandre Miller.
I like the way he came in that little scrap and he grabbed the guy by the headlock. I love seeing him getting engaged. He's got to
He's
be a
been
little
good.
bit,
He's been good with Schneider. I mean, he
he's
has
got to
been.
be a little bit more of a threat physically. And I think they talked about it on the pregame I saw. I couldn't really watch it because my cousin Anthony kept interrupting. I said, "Are you going to talk all game like this? What's?" But anyway, him being engaged and
Classic
playing.
Anthony.
And I
Classic
watched Laviolette's pregame press conference, and they were asking him that question, and he goes, "We just want even minutes, and we're able to do that right now." And it's Keandre's playing up a little bit because I think he's more confident. Maybe it was Trouba holding him back a little bit because he was worried about his skating ability. I don't know.
Well, the thing with Trouba, I was watching him closely tonight. I think he's got some kind of knee injury.
Yeah, he's still lingering. I agree. I said it to Dominic the other night.
He's going to have some kind of surgery when the season ends. For
Yeah,
sure.
he's definitely not playing his ability.
I mean, he was never as mobile. He was never that mobile, but he really looks immobile. Like he looks really like he's hurt.
They're blocking shots, though.
I was gonna say
We'll
he's been
see.
really tough on pucks. He's been really good in the corners, and there was a really good point made on the Up in the Blue Seats pod from the New York Post. Larry Brooks said the change in the defensive pairs really gives Laviolette the chance to match up 3 pairs of shutdown guys that he's comfortable with in any situation. If he puts Trouba out there with Gustafsson, he feels good about Trouba in his own zone. If it's Miller and Schneider, he feels better about their mobility, and Fox and Lindgren are Fox and Lindgren. And I like the way that that Miller's jumped up on the rush a lot in this series. You see them get on the
I
end of
just-
the box as the
I
late guy.
just can't believe. I know we watch the Rangers a lot, and we're probably a little biased, but I watch NHL a lot during the season. I just can't believe no one ever mentions the strength of the Rangers' defensive core.
I
Yeah.
agree.
We always say, "Oh, Dallas has the best D, Vegas has the best defenseman."
Carolina. Carolina.
They're never even mentioned. I don't get it.
We all watched Brady Shea for a long time. I thought he stunk here. I think he stinks in Carolina. I don't get the hype that goes on with the Canes decor, Pesci and Slavin aside, but I think Schneider's the most unsung player of the group.
Oh,
He
forget
deserves
it.
a lot more love.
1 to
Gustafson-
6. 1 to
Gustafson's
6
great.
is few teams in the league that are as good as the Rangers.
Yeah.
When you look at 1 to 6, so you might say a top pairing is better, top 4.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you could argue that, but
defensive core.
I mean, our third pairing is currently Gustafson and Trouba. Like
Yeah.
that's
You can do worse.
a pretty good third pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
it's pretty
say.
solid.
But anyway, all right. Let's hop off. Rangers up 3-0. Big commanding lead in the series. We'll be back Sunday night.
not-
It'll be
We're not
late.
doing the awards thing.
The what?
The player of the
You-
game.
Every single time I'm like concluding and I'm on a roll, I'm vibing. I'm finishing up. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
like
is
we're
it.
trying to
It's
end on time
blah,
for
blah, blah,
once.
blah. We're gonna end. And
Yeah, well.
you interrupt me. We're not gonna do that. Like, what are you?
Well, I
talking
thought we
about?
do player.
We
of
don't
the
talk
Game
about
one,
a
game
thing
one, or
before the
game two.
episode starts.
I know.
He doesn't mention a thing before the episode starts.
All right,
and
there's
then
no
all of a
text
sudden
like,
it's
hey,
wait.
do I need to prepare X, Y? No, it's just interrupt me while I'm closing the episode. Mid vibe. Literally
Well, you're
vibing out.
programming the episode right now.
No, I want you to listen back after when we post this and listen to the vibe I had going there to close that episode out. And you just stopped me in my tracks. Like, we're gonna play. Go ahead, coach. Who's your player of the game? Go ahead.
Kreider.
Kreider. All right. Kreider, player of the game, guys. All right.
Who's yours,
You're
cuz?
gonna tell me why? Just
Got that
Sebastian.
nice goal. He got that nice goal, and he was just had that grit and that fire. He was back checking. He was all over the ice playing hockey and using his body well. He was just out there. He's leading.
all right, I'm gonna go I don't know, Igor. All right, little Ed. Player of the game, little Ed.
I'll go with vintage Kreider as well, carrying the boys, setting
All
the
right.
tone, and
I love it.
and bringing that energy like we need Kreider to do.
Nikki, player of the game.
I'll go Goodrow, penalty killing, shorthanded goal. Hard not to pick him.
Yeah, for sure. Goodrow had a good game. I think he's been fantastic. All right. Well, for those of you out in Europe listening, thank you. It's 4:40 a.m. in DE. I think that's Denmark. I'm not sure, but that's brutal. Thank you for listening. And everyone else, we'll be back after game 4, Sunday night. The game's at 8:00. We'll be on late. It'll be 11-ish, 11 something when the game ends, and we'll be ready to go live as well, hopefully after a Rangers sweep. Until then, take a break, enjoy some playoff hockey that's not New York Rangers hockey, and then we'll be back then. Talk to you guys then. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks, guys.
LGR.
Love you guys. Thank you for everyone listening in the chat and joining in. We'll get some more comments up next week or on Sunday, I mean. So keep on listening. Join us after everyone for the live shows. Let's go Rangers.
Let's go.
Hopefully a lot
Carlos.
more of these.
Oh, Carlo,
Hopefully
did
a
you
lot
buy a
more of
Rempy
these.
shirt, by? You guys got to check out these Rempy shirts if you haven't seen them yet. You got to go on Instagram and look at these Rempy shirts. You got one,
I'll have
right?
to check them out. Yeah.
I am
sure.
getting
Oh,
order.
what?
I am getting order
got it
after
on right
order
now.
after
I
order.
know. I'm gonna have to get one.
They're dope. All right.
Yep.
Let's go, boys. Let's go,
Oh,
Rangers.
boys.
Oh, DE is Deutschland, cousin Ed, for Germany. So Seabass is all the way from Germany.
Why would I think DE is Germany?
I don't know.
There's no D in Germany. It's a G. It should be G.